today's Q&A video, we're going to be talking about leather insoles and leather outsoles. Thank you for all your comments and questions that you guys have posted on our YouTube channel. After reading them all and answering as many as possible, I've selected 4 that we're going to feature in today's Q&A video. Each of these individuals I have selected will receive a complimentary pair of our Wellington shoelaces as a token of our appreciation for their participation in our channel. And remember, if you have any questions or comments while you're watching one of our videos, please ask them in the comments section below. I try to get back to as many of these questions as possible. Our first question today is from Phantom Warrior on a video that we put out on our Allen Edmonds shoe repair that we put through our Kirby Allison certified shoe restoration service. It reads, how much does the sole replacement cost? So it's a great question. Our basic shoe repair or shoe restoration service starts at $195. What that gets you is a full leather, a full sole replacement so that we're taking the outsole off, replacing or patching any of the cork filling, replacing the outsoles with the full leather sole. We're using J.R. Windenbach oak bark tanned leather outsoles, which is really the highest quality leather outsole you can buy. We have an entire video of us visiting their factory where you can really learn and see what exactly makes these outsoles so exceptional. And the full sole is quite important because a lot of cobblers, as a shortcut, will use cheap, fast-tanned leather, which isn't going to have the longevity and abrasion resistance and water resistance that JR does. But they also can basically cut it off right before the heel and just repair the front sole. Now that's a much less expensive repair because it's essentially a shortcut. Now what's special about our shoe restoration service is that no corners are cut, and that also extends to the heels. We're the only cobbler shoe repair service in the United States that I'm aware of that replaces the heels, not just the top lift, but the full heel stack. A lot of shoes, especially like Allen Edmonds and other mid-range shoes, don't actually have a real leather heel stack. It's using particle leather, which is small bits of leather, glued together to form what looks like a piece of leather, but really it's not. But in our program, we're replacing those with J.R. Windenbach full leather heel blocks and top lifts. We have a variety of different top lift options. You can add toe plates during the shoe restoration service, and a meticulous care is being taken to repair your shoes. Now, as additional options, we also have our sovereign grade shoe restoration service, which starts at $250, right below there. And what that includes is, instead of a standard outsole stitching, where we have kind of a closed channel and you can see the stitches on the bottom of the shoe, we're actually opening a channel up, stitching the outsole onto the welt, and then closing that back down like what you would find with a premium shoe like a Carmina, an Alfred Sargent, an Edward Green, or a Gaziano and Girling. That adds a level of finish and finesse to the outsoles that really truly is remarkable and is a nice option. Yeah, thank you for your question, and make sure you subscribe to our Hanger Project Instagram page where you can see photographs of some of the shoes that we've sent through our shoe restoration service. And I can really say that I've used what I've learned by visiting some of the best shoe factories in the world and working with bespoke shoemakers to really design and specify the quality standard that we offer through our Kirby Allison certified shoe restoration program. And without question, you can't find better work here in the United States. Our second question today is with Amy X and is on our Shoe Shine Sunday video with Taylor Eric Jensen. And it reads, the sole on those shoes are looking a bit tired, time for a resole. So what Amy is referring to is I was shining a pair of my bespoke George Cleverly Cap-Toe Oxfords, and the soles look a little worn just because I'd been wearing them. But the real test as to whether or not a pair of shoes need to be resoled, you have to really press down on the sole itself. So it's not how much it looks worn, but it's really whether or not the outsole still maintains its firmness. And so the best test is to take a shoe and then run your thumb through, the ball of the shoe, the bottom, and if you can feel the leather really kind of flexing in, or if you can actually feel the leather starting to ripple under your thumb, then that means that the outsole has reached the end of its lifetime and needs to be resoled. Now, of course, that would be ideal, but we've seen things come into our shoe restoration service that are even worse than that, where shoes have been sent in with huge actual holes in the outsole. So that means that the customer has worn all the way through the outsole into the actual cork bed that is in between the outsole and the insole. You never really want to wait that long to have your shoes resoled, because if you allow the integrity of the outsole to be compromised, what happens is that water can seep through the outsole into the inner compartment of the shoe and really begin to affect the actual structure of the shoe itself. So the ribbing that is used to attach the welt onto the insole, if that gets wet or is wet and damp for a prolonged period of time, it can actually detach from the insole, and at that point, the total structure of the shoe has been compromised and probably beyond repair. So I recommend, whenever you're pulling your shoes out to polish them, always turn them over, take a quick look at the outsole, see what it looks like, run your finger across it, and if you can feel any type of flex or push into the outsole itself, send them in to be repaired. We have a great video specifically on this topic, which are the 3 ways to know that your shoes need to be resoled. Our next question is from AZ Caffin, and it is on our Carmina hole cut and shell cordovan review. And it reads, another very well done review on a gorgeous shoe, but I have a question on the sole. When they slice the leather to make the hidden stitching, does it change the structure of the fibers or make the leather less durable? Thanks again for bringing us another great shoe. So this is a great question. What this gentleman is referring to is that on premium shoes, you can't see the actual outsole stitching that stitches the outsole to the welt of the shoe. What is used is something that's called an invisible channel stitch. And what that means is that the leather on the outsole is sliced into, peeled back, and then the Goodyear welting machine stitches the leather outsole onto the shoe and the welt. And then that flap of leather is glued and pressed back down. Now the result is that you get a very beautifully finished outsole. You don't see any of the stitching of the outsole at all. It's totally smooth, and it's just a level of finishing and finesse to the bottom of the shoe that really separates a premium quality shoe from just a standard quality shoe. As far as durability, if it's done properly, it shouldn't affect the durability of the outsole at all. First and foremost, the majority of the wear and abrasion is happening right here. And if it's done properly, it's cut into at an angle and then glued down quite nicely so that you don't have to worry about wearing through that. Now that said, I've got some shoes where maybe I am pronating a little bit and kind of wear through the outside edge of the shoe a little bit more than say the center. And you may wear past, that flap and actually expose that outsole stitching, but in no way has the integrity of the outsole itself been compromised. So great observation, and it's one of the beautiful details that I really love about a finely crafted shoe. Our last question today is from Matteo Steiner, and it's on our When to Use Brass Toe Plates on Dress Shoes video. And it reads, greetings Kirby, just a question out of pure interest. How does a fiddleback sole get replaced? So this is a good question. Now, our cobbler, Jim McFarland, who exclusively does all the work for our Kirby Allison Certified Shoe Restoration Program, actually spent an entire day at Gaziano and Gerling training to learn their techniques so that we could basically certify him as being able to resole shoes to really that standard. And there are 2 big things that he really learned during that time there that set our shoe restoration program apart from any other shoe restoration program that I know of. The first really refers back to the prior question, which is that he was trained extensively on the technique used to cut into the outsole in order to open it up for an invisible channel stitching so that it's done in such a way that doesn't compromise the integrity of the outsole and that doesn't wear off or break off prematurely. The second thing that he learned, of course, was how to resole a shoe while still respecting the integrity of that fiddleback waist. Now, the way that a fiddleback waist is formed is that the shank is built up across this area of the shoe, and then the shoe has a narrow waist, so that whenever they're resoling, you're actually bending that outsole over that shank and kind of contouring it to that shape before you stitch the outsole onto the welt. Of course, a shoe can be resold as long as it's done properly and by a skilled cobbler in such a way that still maintains that beautiful fiddleback waist that we come to expect on so many luxury shoes. One of the other things that's required really to get that beautiful waist is that it honestly requires a degree of shaping by hand. Of course, in the shoemaking industry, and the same is true with cobblers, a degree of machines are used to just trim and to shape. But one of the things that I love about Jim, since he was taught by his father a long time ago, he still really enjoys pulling out his knife and really shaping things manually by hand. Even though it's a little bit more difficult because of the density of these J.R. Rindenbach oak bark tanned leather outsoles, he's still able to work more shape into the outsole than you would get otherwise just using a trimming machine. Thank you for all of your questions, and if you haven't had a chance to take a look at our Kirby Allison Certified Shoe Restoration Program, I would encourage you to do it. We started this program really out of a demand from our customers, really asking us where they could take their shoes to be resold that was trustworthy. And the reality is that there's a huge variation in the degree of work being done by cobblers. Now, there's certainly great local cobblers here that do fantastic work, but unfortunately they're fewer and farther between and more difficult to find. The goal of our Kirby Allison Certified Shoe Restoration Program was really to pull everything that I know about craftsmanship and quality into one program that you can trust will take the absolute best care of your shoes. That means using the best quality materials like J.R. Rindenbach oak bark tanned leather outsoles. It means replacing particle leather heel blocks with full leather J.R. Rindenbach oak bark tanned leather outsoles and top lifts. And it means really scouring the country to find one of the best cobblers here in America that does meticulous work. And one of the things that you can be absolutely certain of is that whenever you send your shoes to us to be resold, that our third generation award-winning cobbler, Jim McFarland, is going to be the only person touching your shoes. He's not having any of the other people in his workshop do his work for us. He exclusively does it himself. And with that just comes a degree of skill, a degree of craftsmanship, and a degree in pride in the work that is difficult to find. Of course, no shoe goes through our program without a complete shoe shine, and every pair of shoes is delivered with our Kirby Allison Wellington shoe bags and a beautiful shoe box with a personal handwritten note card detailing all the work that's been done. Once again, I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone for their comments and questions. It's your engagement on our YouTube channel that make these Q&A videos possible. If you haven't taken an opportunity to ask a question or make a comment, I invite you to do so. Even if you don't have any questions to ask, just sharing your opinion or your thoughts about our content helps us make better videos for you in the future and this more fun for everyone. I read all those questions and comments personally and really do enjoy getting back to as many of them as I possibly can. In today's video, I'm wearing a W.W. Chan odd jacket that is made from Zania fabric, a blue striped Charvet bespoke shirt. I'm wearing a navy grenadine tie from our Sovereign Grade collection of ties. I have a Simino Godard a blue pocket square. And then today I'm wearing a new pair of trousers made by Himmerjani Brothers or mytailor.com. It's a beautiful dark brown with single reverse pleats and side tabs. And then I'm wearing a beautiful cap-toe Oxford shoe by St. Crispin's. It has a suede rear quarter. And then I have one of my favorite pairs of socks, which are our brown small dot melange socks. These are staples in my closet. I have multiple pairs per color just because it's such a beautiful and elegant fancy dress sock. I'm Kirby Allison, and thanks for joining us.